Move, Zara hissed, shoving her devices into her backpack as the resonator's amber pulse grew frantic. The cold laughter echoed closer now, bouncing off tunnel walls with an unnatural quality that made Michael's skin crawl. Yuki was already leading them deeper into the maintenance passage, her small frame moving with surprising grace through the narrow space. "There's an access ladder about 50 meters ahead," she whispered over her shoulder. "It connects to the old metro lines." Michael stumbled over loose debris, his sneakers sliding on the damp concrete. Behind them, he could hear heavy footsteps and what sounded like metal scraping against stone. Whatever was following them wasn't trying to be quiet anymore. "Can your resonator tell us what we're running from?" he asked Zara, who was bringing up the rear. "Nothing good," she replied tersely, her amber eyes fixed on the device's readout. "The dimensional signature is wrong, twisted, like someone's been experimenting with rift manipulation." They reached the ladder Yuki had mentioned, a rusted metal construction bolted to the tunnel wall. She climbed first, her movements quick and sure. Michael followed, the cold metal rungs biting through his palms. Above, he could hear Yuki pushing against what must be a heavy access cover. A burst of fresher air hit his face as they emerged into a wider tunnel system. This one showed signs of recent use. The walls were cleaner, and electric lights hummed overhead. Yuki was already moving again, leading them through a maze of passages that seemed to branch and reconnect without any logical pattern. "How do you know where we're going?" Michael panted, struggling to keep up. "I've been exploring these tunnels for 2 years, Yuki replied without slowing. "After my parents disappeared, grandmother taught me to always have escape routes. She said it was an old family tradition." The sound of pursuit faded as they put distance between themselves and their former hiding spot. Finally, Yuki stopped at a seemingly blank section of wall and pressed her palm against what looked like ordinary concrete. A section slid aside with barely a whisper, revealing warm light beyond. "Grandmother," Yuki called softly as they stepped through the hidden entrance. The space beyond was larger than Michael had expected, a comfortable underground room with traditional Japanese furnishings mixed with modern technology. Tatami mats covered the floor, while monitors displaying various readouts lined one wall. An elderly woman knelt at a low table, pouring tea from a ceramic pot that seemed to steam without any visible heat source. "Yuki-chan," the woman said without looking up, "you brought friends and trouble from the look of things." Michael stared. Yuki's grandmother looked to be in her 70s, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun and dark eyes that seemed to see everything. What caught his attention, though, was the faint shimmer in the air around her, like heat waves, but more purposeful. "Grandmother, this is Michael and Zara," Yuki said, bowing slightly. "They fell through rifts like the others you've helped." The woman, who Michael realized he should probably call Tanaka-san, finally looked up at them. Her gaze lingered on each child, and Michael felt as though she was reading something invisible written on his face. "American," she said to Michael, "from somewhere flat and wide, you carry steel for protection but prefer words to violence." Her attention shifted to Zara. "And you, child, carry guilt heavy as mountains. Your invention opened doors that should have remained closed." Zara stepped back, her face pale. "How could you possibly know that?" "Because I helped design the theoretical framework your world used for dimensional research," Tanaka-san replied calmly, gesturing for them to sit. 40 years ago, before I married and took my husband's name, I was Dr. Akiko Yamada. Perhaps you've heard of me." Zara's eyes widened. "You wrote the Yamada equations for dimensional membrane stability, but that was decades ago, and you disappeared after publishing just 3 papers." I didn't disappear, the elderly woman said with a slight smile. I came home, to this dimension where my family needed me more than theoretical physics did. She poured tea into 3 additional cups, the liquid steaming with an almost ethereal quality. Drink. It will help stabilize your dimensional resonance. Michael accepted his cup cautiously. The tea tasted like nothing he'd ever experienced, warm and comforting, but with an underlying energy that seemed to settle deep in his bones. You knew this would happen, Yuki said quietly. The rifts, the displaced people, you've been preparing. I suspected, Tanaka-san admitted. When your parents were investigating the early dimensional anomalies, they discovered something disturbing. Someone was deliberately weakening the barriers between worlds, but not randomly. There was a pattern, a purpose. Michael felt a chill that had nothing to do with the underground air. What kind of purpose? The kind that requires displaced children with unique abilities, the old woman said gravely. Children like you 3, who can navigate between worlds, see beyond normal perception, and adapt to impossible circumstances. Zara's resonator began humming again, but this time the light was a steady blue. The dimensional disturbance is stabilizing, she reported. Whatever was chasing us seems to have given up. For now, Tanaka-san agreed. But they'll be back and they'll bring others. The question is, will you 3 be ready? Michael looked at his new friends, Yuki with her silver-streaked hair and haunted eyes, Zara with her brilliant mind and crushing guilt. Then he thought about the cold laughter in the tunnels and the implications of what Tanaka-san had revealed. Ready for what? He asked, though part of him already suspected the answer. To save not just this world, the old woman said, but all of them.